there's no way I can't not address this, okay? The movie Get Out, it is a sad example, another sad example of how a bullshit Hollywood science fiction movie, which is a make-believe fantasy, is actually given credence in the black community. There are people out here in the black community, niggas, who actually give this stuff credence. They actually give this stuff credence. It is unbelievable that they actually took this movie seriously, as if to say this is what white people are secretly trying to do to us. So the movie Get Out was about white people who used a white girl to lure black men to their house to harvest his DNA for the benefit of dying white people and making black people some sort of mind-controlled zombie slave. And you got niggas out here talking about, bruh, you see how these white folks is? That's some real shit. Brothers better watch this shit if they want to stay woke. That is the most ignorant ass shit I have ever heard in my fucking life. It's a movie. A science fiction movie at that. Any black man who uses the movie Get Out as a real world guide to how white people treat black people and what white girls really want from us when they want to date us is a dumb nigga and deserves to stay stupid because the joke's on him. Would you like to know why? Would you like to know why the joke is on these niggas? You want to know why? Because the director, the guy that wrote and directed this movie is Jordan Peele, who happens to be a black man. And who is Jordan Peele married to? That's right, Chelsea Peretti, who is what class? A white girl. Stupid motherfuckers. Stupid motherfuckers. Anyway, back to Corey Haywood and his dumbass. So there was an underscore on the article from before, and it actually said, while in public, girls should have to wear a sign on their back that says, "Black men date me with caution." And so right out of the gate, he starts with the scare tactics. Newsflash, Corey. All girls should wear a sign on their backs that say, "Date me with caution." Okay? All of them should. White girls, black girls, Mexican girls, Indian girls, Asians. Any and all races of women who are born and raised in the U.S. are poisonous to men of all races. But here's another factoid for Mr. Haywood. It is more dangerous for black men to date black women than it is for us to date white girls. Yeah, I said it. And the reason we know this is because the reason we know this to be true is because black women put black men at risk regardless of age. It is more, like I said, it is more dangerous for black men to date black women than it is for us to date white girls. And the reason we know this to be true is because black women put black men at risk at all ages. Guys, we have all seen the police videos where countless black mothers are pulled over for driving drunk with children in the car. There was even one black woman who literally ran from the cops and got into an accident with like 8 kids in the car. We actually recently reacted to a video where a boy's black mother tried to run over the woman who was holding her son. Yes, you heard that correctly. The boy's caretaker, who was married to the mother's brother, was standing in the parking lot holding her son. And the boy's mother literally tried to run her over in a rented pickup truck, completely disregarding the safety of her son. Oh, and then of course, you guys remember this? You guys remember this? Yeah, that's right. I haven't forgotten. This is an Atlanta mother who was recently convicted for cooking her 2 sons to death in an oven. Literally cooking her 2 sons to death in the oven. And then, of course, oh, sorry about that. When I was a teenager, just another example, and I've told you guys this, I've told you guys this story before. But when I was a teenager, my mother wanted me to confront her boyfriend for having cheated on her. At that point, I was maybe 5'10", 160 pounds soaking wet, and she wanted me to fight this nigga who was 6'4" and at least 250. And she was deadly serious about it. And then, of course, we've seen almost too many videos of black women getting into trouble with the law. And the first thing they do when things go sideways is they send up the nigga signal. Now, what's the nigga signal, you ask? It's when they call out to black men in the surrounding areas to come and intervene on her behalf with law enforcement, which puts the black man in imminent danger. They want these men to risk death to get involved. The most dangerous person to the American black man is the American black woman. Y'all can miss me with all this white girls this and white girls that. Yeah, messing with white girls is risky. Messing with Latinas is risky. Messing with Asians are risky. Messing with any westernized modern woman is risky. But for black men, the most risk he will take is messing around with the black woman. And the black men who are actually worth a damn know this very clearly. This is why they're getting off the plantation and started dating outside of their race. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. The article starts quote, "This is an editorial for black men." He says, "Hey fellas, if you're thinking about dating a white girl, which is a learning experience that all black men should undergo at some point in our lives, it'll expose you to racism in ways that only a trained eye can recognize. To further this premise, I've come up with 10 examples based on some of my romantic encounters with white women, the first of which included them looking to her left and right before kissing me in public." Oh my God, that's such bullshit. Like, seriously? You expect us to believe that? Unfucking believable. It was 2013 at the time, many moons after the Jim Crow era, and still, as a white woman, she instinctively made sure no one else could see us sharing a kiss. In that moment, I thought to myself, bitch, you ain't crossing the street. What's your deal? But looking back, I shouldn't have been offended, he says. She was only protecting herself from the disapproving stares that come whenever there is a sighting of a mixed race couple, especially the vanilla chocolate variety. Check out the other 10 examples below. Racism, it continues. Don't date that white girl. The world will hate you. He continues. Dating a white girl will reveal how much of a nigger you really are. In parenthesis to the white people watching. When you enter a room with her, even the most liberal white observer will spend an extra second or two watching the way you two interact. It won't seem natural, and plus, viewing mixed race couples in person draws a much greater psychological response from racists rather than catching a glimpse of this imagery showcased on a billboard or in a magazine. Even if they aren't watching for long periods, you'll experience discomfort like you have never felt before. Ay, 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 ay. Oh boy. Ay, 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 ay. Guys, do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? This is feminine. This is female behavior, guys. This is feminine thinking. This is female rationale. Black men don't give a fuck about what people think about us when we walk into a room with a white girl, least of all white people. And racist people can have all the psychological responses they want to. They're not gonna do shit but stare. And the last time I checked, staring never hurt anybody, nor does it cause discomfort. Corey expects us to believe that we would actually be bothered and scared of all of the white people looking at us with the white girl. Because surely we showed up to a Klan rally deep in the Mississippi woods. Okay, no, we're not out at restaurants or stores, right? Or out and about where there's zero imminent danger from people who call themselves racist or white supremacists. No. Every time we enter a room with a white girl, we are walking into a KKK meeting, which is obvious why we feel discomfort and worry about the psychological responses from racists. Fuck out of here. Give me a break. Let's go to the next one. Racism. Don't date that white girl. Her friends will judge you. He continues. As the token black guy, her friends will analyze your every move to confirm the stereotypes and satisfy personal curiosity. If you behave too much like the typical, quote, Negro, it will elicit their judgment. If you fail to exhibit a sufficient amount of blackness, they will respond by asking questions about your upbringing. First of all, the word token black guy basically means a politically correct black man who poses no perceived threat and is completely harmless. So even if you are the token black guy, and if you're red pill aware, you definitely aren't. But for the sake of argument in this context, they ain't analyzing shit. Okay? Why? Because a white girl's friends ain't worried about you. They either want to fuck you or they want to fuck your friends because they want to be like their friend who's fucking you. And get this. If you have a rock solid frame, if you keep her ass in line, her friends can judge you all they want to. she's not gonna give a shit because women know that other women give terrible relationship advice, even their friends. If you know what you're doing, gentlemen, regardless of race, she will value your opinion and not worry about her friend's analysis of you. Not only that, as black men, we couldn't give less of a shit about what a white girl's friends think of us. Worrying about what a female thinks is, again, female rationale. Let's move to the next one. No, now he wants to talk about sex and the big black cock fallacy. Racism. Don't date that white girl. She only wants the D. It continues. She's only going to make requests in the bedroom and hold you to certain expectations that she wouldn't otherwise think of with a white partner. It's a symptom of the, quote, mandingo fallacy. Oh my God. Oh my God. Gentlemen, white girls know damn well that not all black dudes have baseball bat-sized dicks like they do in porn. They know this. And white girls ain't holding black men to any expectations because she knows better than that. White girls know better than to demand anything from men they know won't put up with their bullshit. And if we bring that if she brings that hyper-masculinity to the table, she will know this right out of the gate. What Corey's talking about, as far as expectations is concerned, is that masculinity in bed, not the size of our dicks. White girls expect the man who is masculine to the core to pull her hair, smack her ass, and call her names while he fucks her like he's mad at her. That's the fantasy he's talking about. But it ain't a fantasy. That's some real shit. And if white girls know, if they really want the D, they know where to get it. And it doesn't sound like much of a deterrent to either white girls or black men to me. But that's just me. I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. Let's go to the next one. This one points out, this next one he points out, he tries to perpetuate the stereotype of black men beating up white girls. Racism, it says, don't date that white girl. In her subconscious, she's afraid of you. He continues, during any dispute, she'll pay close attention to your behavior to determine if it's aggressive or a danger to her safety, which she already suspects due to the media's unsavory portrayal of black men. Oh boy, okay, all right. White girls, they're not afraid of us hitting them. Dude, they're not even afraid of the cops. You see how these white girls act on these police videos? Y'all seen how Karens react to cops? White girls are steady attacking cops, calling them names, they don't comply, they don't respect the law. And those guys have guns and tasers and nightsticks. So what on God's green earth makes you think that white girls are remotely afraid of a black man putting hands on them? And even if she were, even if a small part of her brain isn't 100% that you as a black man wouldn't chin check her if she got out of pocket, and again, let's be clear, you absolutely would not. But if she isn't sure that you would not, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, hitting women is wrong and it's against the law. But we all know how warped the minds of modern women are. And if they think for 1 second that you would so much as consider doing the unthinkable, they tend to stay in pocket. Not the way it should be. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Let's move to the next one. Oh, now he's trying to make us feel bad that white girls use black dudes for short-term flings. Racism, don't date that white girl. She's only using you as an experiment. He continues, you will likely be the only black person that she interacts with on a regular basis or one of a small few, hence the term experiment. So now I'm sure that some women are like, OMG, Donovan, are you satisfied being a white woman's experiment? No, you fucking idiot. She is satisfied with being mine. And that is how we as red pill aware black men handle our shit. Corey is trying to tell us that our feelings will be hurt because white girls are using us for sex. We're men. We don't give a shit if a woman uses us for sex. Women care about that stuff. Men don't. If a white girl I'm banging at the time says, hey, Donovan, I have a confession to make. I'm using you for sex. I'd say, cool. Now bend over so you can use me again. Again, female mentality. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's move to the next one. Racism. Don't date that white girl. She'll pour on the PDA for public attention. He continues, in public, she will lay it on thick with her affection to prove that she doesn't notice the other people watching. This will also be an attempt to counteract the instinctive prejudice brewing within her subconscious. Side note, the darker you are and the fairer she is, the more intently others will stare. Why would we give a shit if a white girl wants to hold our hand in public? Why would we care if a white girl wants to show us affection? We don't care. It doesn't matter to us either way. And by the way, all girls are attention whores, Corey. All girls rub up on their men in public for attention, and once again, who gives a shit about what other people are staring? Who gives a shit what they're staring at? Staring doesn't hurt people, Corey. Oh, wait a minute. He's assuming we're at a Klan rally again. My bad. Ay. Now he goes back to sex. Don't date that white girl. He says she'll fuck your brains out, but she will not marry you. He continues, after your, quote, undefined relationship with her reaches its inevitable end, as 90% of all black-white couples fail to go the distance. Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. You'll look up several months later or even earlier, depending on her habits, and she'll be in the arms of a white guy, thereby satisfying your subconscious desire to socialize within her own race. Part of accepting the truth about ourselves as black men is being self-aware, right? Knowing where we are and where we stand in the sexual hierarchy, in other words. Accepting hard and fast truths, regardless of how uncomfortable they may be, no matter how much of a blow to our ego may be, we gotta be self-aware. And one of those truths is that white men, they're at the top of the sexual food chain. All things being equal, most white girls prefer white guys. No, this doesn't mean that white men are more valuable than black men. No, it doesn't mean that I perceive a white man's value above mine. No, it doesn't mean that they're any better or worse than we are. It's a simple truth. When you factor in all of the elements, socially, employment-wise, future provisioning potential, her parents, her family, her friends, white guys are just about every woman's type, especially white girls. Black men here, we've accepted that. We know and understand that when white girls start dating or fucking us, they're not thinking about marriage and kids with us, at least not in the beginning. No, they're thinking they want to have fun with a confident man who knows who he is, what he wants, how to get it, and how to keep her in line while having fun along the way. Sometimes they grow to love us and want to have our children, but most of the time they don't. Most of the time they have to choose to consolidate on a white guy after getting off the BBC Express. Black men who are Crimson Capsule aware. We all know that more often than not, white girls see us as a novelty. Something to try that all of her friends are talking about. Something to do to rebel against society or her father. Now, I can't speak for anyone here, but I'm okay with that. Me personally, I'm okay with that. I don't have no ego when it comes to this. Corey is trying to tell us that our feelings will be hurt because Heather and Christy and Kelsey don't want to marry us. Boo fucking who. There's always another white girl out there. They're a dime a dozen. They ain't special. Corey actually just gave himself away because he thinks it's a big deal that white girls don't want to be with us long term. Yeah, cry me a river, Corey. White girls are a dime a fucking dozen, and if you had any experience with them, you would know that. Ay. This guy, trying to get us to get into our feelings. Typical. Here's the next one. Don't date that white girl. She doesn't understand your struggle as a black man. Oh boy. When you approach her with complaints about the racism you experience at work or any place else, she'll initially put forth an effort to create the illusion that she's understanding and sympathetic, but eventually your complaining will elicit responses of annoyance and insensitivity. This will lead to her flipping the script and accusing you of being racist and narrow-minded. It's a tactic that white people use whenever they want to avoid answering questions about racism or owning up to the part they play. First off, Corey, we don't complain to white girls about our plight as black men. We may talk about it to get it off our chest or explain why we do things a certain way, but we're not complaining because complaining is sympathy seeking, and sympathy is something we neither want nor do we need from white girls. And if you guys want to, I've talked about that way back in episode 13. If you're a patron, you can go on and check that out. Guys, I don't want my woman's sympathy, okay? I bring this shit to her attention so that she knows why I do what I do. That's it. Black men who are red pill aware also know that white girls will never understand our struggle as black men because they're not black men, and expecting her is an exercise in futility. Guys, I'm here to tell you, white people don't give a shit about our problems, and they shouldn't. This includes white girls we happen to be dating or fucking. We don't need white girls to fight for us. We don't need them to look out for us. We don't need them to understand shit. We need white girls to do what black women don't do, which is shut the fuck up, get the fuck in line, and do what the fuck they're told, which is exactly what white girls want to do. Gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, burdening women with your problems, regardless of race, it stresses them out. And a woman who is stressed out is a woman who is not relaxed. And a woman who is not relaxed is a woman who's gonna act up. Women act up and shit test when they're stressed out, when they don't feel protected, when they feel like they're carrying your burden. We're men. We carry our own burdens. We handle our own shit. Any man who expects his woman to understand his plight and sympathize for him isn't a man. And Corey Haywood clearly isn't a man because he assumes that black men are engaging in female behavior by expecting others to care about our problems. Fuck out of here, man. Let's go to the next one. Don't date that white girl. She thinks you're simple-minded by nature. Oh boy. He continues, if you happen to lack intelligence or sophistication, which some might argue would disqualify from even being eligible to date white women, there will come times when she speaks to you with a condescending tone as if you know nothing, like she would a young child. In this scenario, her goal, you'll notice, will be to, quote, civilize you in a manner that is suitable for her family, friends, and colleagues. It would be her version of transforming you into from a field slave to a house nigga. Two things I want to point out here. It ain't white girls who speak to black men in a condescending tone, as if you know nothing, or talk to black men as she would a young child. Nah, nigga, that's black women. No. Black women love to brag that they are the most educated group of people in America, and because of that, they think they have the right to speak to us, black men, in a condescending tone. Gentlemen, this is pure projection. This dude is literally accusing white women of engaging in a behavior that black women regularly engage in on autopilot. Number two, once again, Corey Haywood is showing us that he is pedestalizing white women. Because what he says here assumes that all white women have intelligence and sophistication. And I'm here to tell you that having fucked a shit ton of white girls, nothing could be further from the truth. Dude, I'm telling y'all right now, white girls are every bit as vapid, hollow-minded as anyone else there. Even the white girls out there who are a little smarter than average are still fucking hood niggas that have no intelligence or sophistication. And those hood niggas don't give a shit that she doesn't bring them around her friends, so long as she's giving them the pussy. All black men, gentlemen, and I want you to hear me and hear me good. All black men, from hood niggas to dope boys to scholars, know that most white girls are as dumb as every other race of woman out there. And let's go back to that healthy level of respect they have first because of that undercurrent, that undercurrent of fear in their heads because of the physically abusive stereotype. So if a white girl is afraid a black man's gonna hit her, then why would she condescend if she thought she was gonna catch an ass whooping? Which is it, Corey? Are they afraid of us or are they trying to condescend and talk down to us? Well, the answer is neither. White girls are not the sharpest tools in the shed, but they're smart enough to know that they shouldn't disrespect us like that. And they damn sure don't think about transforming us into anything. Why? Because regardless of skin color on either end, a man who can be changed by a woman is not a man that woman will respect. White girls gravitate toward us because of who we are. They're attracted to our bravado, our gravitas, our machismo, our moxie, our masculinity. They're not trying to change shit. And most of them are not dumb enough to try. And finally, don't date that white girl. She'll only expose your kids to her culture. No BET. He continues, if you procreate with a white partner, she won't be in position, nor is it likely, that she'll be open to the idea of exposing your offspring to black culture more than her own culture. Don't be fooled when she observes all of the accessories decorating your niece's hair and says, how creative. That's code for ghetto. Oh boy. Actually, Corey, I'd like to make a correction here. I'd be the ones not exposing my kids to BET. I'd be the one not exposing my kids to black culture. I wouldn't want my children growing up with that victim nigga mindset that thinks the world owes them reparations simply because they've got a little melanin in their skin. So no, Corey, it wouldn't be the white girls keeping them away from nigga shit, it'd be me. And any black man who is off the plantation would move heaven and fucking earth to make sure his mixed kids don't end up like these niggas in the so-called black community. But here's something else. Corey is assuming that the only niggas out here banging white girls are simps. What red pill aware black man in his right mind would allow the mother of his children to dictate what they are or are not exposed to? Like we just roll over and say, that's okay, Stacy. Donovan Jr. doesn't have to watch Pop the Balloon or Find Love, so he knows what he's dealing with if he decides to deal with black women. He can watch the Kardashians instead. Once again, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. A white girl can't be afraid of a black man, but then turn around and dictate to the father how his kids are going to be raised. Doesn't work that way. It is either one or the other, It can't be both. Plus, here's another thing. White girls can't teach their black children about black culture because she's not a black man. How do you expect a white girl to expose her kid to black culture if she's white? Remember, white people don't give a shit about the plight of black people. But part of the reason for it is because they're not aware of all of the elements that black people struggle with. Sure, she might see something on TV, right? She might see a video or something on social media, but she hasn't walked in our shoes, so we can't expect her to understand what it's like to be in a black man in America, much less the cesspool that is black culture, where all of their heroes are Sexy Red, Lizzo, Ice Spice, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, or any other ratchet who brags about not cooking and cleaning and still getting the ring. In conclusion, guys, like I said at the beginning, I can understand it if a black woman wrote some shit like this, right? I think we all know and understand that black women have a vested interest in steering us away from dating other races of women because they don't have any other options. There's no shit for them to jump to. But black men who engage in this level of fuckery towards one another, towards other black men, cannot be trusted. All 10 of his so-called reasons we shouldn't date white girls, they're all untrue. We do not need to date white women or have our eyes opened about racism. Black women have already handled that for us. And that is the memo.